Remember the late 90s? You'd go home for Christmas and your Uncle Larry would be talking about these things called internet stocks. You'd be talking about a name like pets.com and how you better buy it or else you're going to miss out on an opportunity to get rich. And Lord knows you don't want to see Uncle Larry get rich and not get rich with him. How shameful would that be? Well, flash forward a few years and we saw multiple bubbles similar to that dot-com bubble. Whether we're talking about cannabis stocks, we're talking about meme stocks, AI stocks, which have seen a few bubbles, Internet of Things, I can go on. It's how the stock market works. It's when there's one shiny object that everybody wants to invest in because they think that there's an opportunity to get rich in some sort of disruptive technology or secular change, and presto, what do you know? All the junior investment bankers out there go and they find a bunch of deals that they can clip fees on and sell to you on the stock market, which for the most part haven't been properly diligenced, but it doesn't really matter because everybody's getting rich and quite frankly, nobody cares until the party ends. Now, fast forward to 2025 and we're seeing a similar mania unfold, but instead of the dot-com bubble, it's all about quantum computing. Stocks like Rigetti, D-Wave, and IonQ have soared anywhere from a modest 183% to a mind-blowing 775% in just 1 year. Headlines scream that quantum will change life as we know it, that it'll solve global warming, and that we might be living in a multiverse. And let's be honest, if you're watching this video researching stocks, we're all here for one reason: to get rich. And if these stocks are part of a truly disruptive industry, who wouldn't want front row seats to that reality? But like any bubble, there are peaks and valleys, and the smallest shade can have a real impact on the volatility. Enter Jensen Wong, CEO of Nvidia and widely regarded as one of tech's brightest minds of all time, who just doused the quantum computing excitement at CES 2025. Basically saying we're still 15 to 30 years away from seeing anything truly practical out of quantum. Cue the market freakout. Rigetti and D-Wave both tank over 50%. And everyone's suddenly wondering if this is the end of the quantum mania or just another dip in a roller coaster sector. All right, folks, today we're going to walk you through the quantum pump. Let's dive in. If you've ever got a migraine from high school physics, I have some news. Quantum computing is like that on steroids. In classical computing, everything's in bits, ones and zeros. In quantum computing, we have these magical things called qubits that can be both 1 and 0 at the same time, a phenomenon called superposition, and even linked together in bizarre ways called entanglement. The promise? Exponential leaps in computing power for specialized tasks like encryption, materials science, and drug discovery. Sounds like sci-fi, right? Well, big tech players like Google, IBM, and Microsoft have been pouring billions of dollars into quantum research for years. They have cash equivalent to mid-sized countries, not to mention sweet deals to recruit the top quantum whizzes on the planet. Meanwhile, smaller companies like Rigetti, IonQ, and D-Wave have captured the imaginations and wallets of traders looking for the next Nvidia. In December, Google further fueled this frenzy with the announcement of Willow, their latest quantum processor. Willow reportedly improves on Google's earlier designs by significantly reducing error rates, one of the biggest hurdles to achieving practical quantum computers. This was catnip to investors who saw Google's progress as a sign the quantum future may have arrived faster than expected. Now, if you mention the words disruptive technology breakthrough to any penny stock gambler, they're instantly going to be scrambling for those names that they can make money in. They basically turn into an Apple diehard after they hear about a new iPhone on the shelf, who will line up around the block at midnight for a fully hyped phone that's basically the same phone in a slightly different shade of gray. So if we back up over the last 12 months, we see these quantum stocks performing like they've discovered the cheat code to the stock market. D-Wave rocketed up 659%. IonQ, well, they soared 184%. And Rigetti, they've soared an eye-popping 775%. But here's the kicker. Nobody's sure how soon quantum will yield real-world profits. That hasn't stopped the hype cycle, or the headlines proclaiming quantum will fix everything from climate change to your burnt morning toast. Then along comes Jensen Wong, the big shot CEO of Nvidia, basically the Tony Stark of GPUs at CES 2025, saying, hey, hold your horses. We're probably decades away from very useful quantum computers. In other words, if you're waiting on a quantum iPhone or a quantum chat app that reads your mind, plan on a long wait. The minute he uttered that, quantum stocks took a nasty nosedive. Investors who were daydreaming about a quantum gold rush woke up to a market reality check. But not everyone took this lightly. Alan Barrett, CEO of D-Wave, fired back at Wong in a CNBC interview, insisting that quantum is already solving real business problems. Meanwhile, something we basically never see on CNBC, Deidre Bosa practically invited Barrett to a cage match, grilling him over revenue that's still under $10 million a year, while the company's market cap hovers over $1 billion.
Surge in the sector. It's now down nearly 40% on the session. Alan, thank you so much for joining us and making the time. Tell us what exactly Jensen Wong, the leading authority on the future of computing, is getting wrong here.
So, Deirdre, thanks for
what you just described, Alan, sounds like what generative AI promises to do: optimization, simulations, etc. If D-Wave is offering better optimization and tools, then why aren't you valued like an AI company? Why is your revenue, bookings, and profitability contracting in the latest quarter?
Oh, tough crowd.
You can practically see Bosa's eyebrows shooting up to her hairline every time Barrett dodges a direct question. Still, the industry's pushback hasn't budged Wong's timeline. And to his credit, Wong knows a thing or two about waiting for game-changing tech to develop. Nvidia didn't become a trillion-dollar juggernaut overnight. And if you think Jensen is afraid to make us believe that disruption is around the corner, at the same time he was throwing cold water on quantum stocks, he was slinging humanoid robots to us like we might be living in the Jetsons by 2026.
Humanoid robots? My friends?
Oh, she sounds sad.
Sad? A robot?
Okay, so let's start off with the big three, what I'm going to call quantum pure plays that CNBC won't stop talking about. All right, first we got Rigetti Computing, a company founded by a former IBM quantum researcher who has made serious claims about building universal quantum computers. They're burning through cash to scale up qubits, but revenues are puny, $9.4 million in the last 12 months, versus a $1.5 billion market cap. The stock soared 775% in the last year, fueled by hype and fresh capital raises totaling $100 million. Will that be enough to get them to an actual product? I guess we'll find out. Okay, next we have IonQ, who uses a trapped ion approach, which sounds exactly like a sci-fi laser show in a vacuum. Their revenue picture is a bit brighter than Rigetti's, and they've boasted some big contracts. Nevertheless, the stock's up nearly 200% in a year, because rationality is definitely the name of the game here. Next, we have D-Wave Quantum, a company that's been at this for decades, but their annealing approach isn't what most folks consider a universal quantum system. CEO Alan Barrett insists that they're solving real-world problems today, though their revenue is still under $10 million for the last year. Their stock is up 659% in the last year, despite repeated short seller critiques that D-Wave is only dishing out theoretical solutions. At over 100 times sales, let's just say the bar is set pretty high here. So perhaps you don't want to pick just one name. You want an ETF. Well, Sylvia Jablonski, the CEO of Defiance ETFs, has you covered. She's hopped aboard the quantum train, launching a quantum learning ETF that invests in both established tech giants and smaller players like IonQ, Rigetti, and D-Wave. She explained her bullish stance on CNBC in this interview.
Balance sheet stocks mixed with these small cap players that are going to thrive. If you look at just the quantum space, right, it's just about $1 billion. We thought it would be 700 million this year. It got to $1 billion. You know, it's going to probably be 3 to 4 times that in the next 4 years. And so if you think about the stock prices and where they're at on these names now, you can kind of see that pulling forward at a similar compounded annual growth rate.
She likened quantum to the early days of AI, basically meaning if you missed out on stuffing your portfolio with AI stocks, maybe quantum is your next shot. And hey, it's not just Sylvia stoking the hype. Every time Google, IBM, or Microsoft utters quantum, it sends the media into a frenzy. This then creates more liquidity, which pumps up prices, which in turn leads to more hype. Rinse and repeat, baby. It's classic mania behavior fueled by dreams that one day one of these fledgling names might become the next Tesla or Amazon. Meanwhile, you've got a handful of Canadian microcaps like Quantum Emotion or BTQ that have soared from pennies to dollars in a matter of weeks, proving that indeed everyone wants to be first in line for the next big thing. So let's wrap it up. If you're feeling whiplash, you're not alone. In one corner, we've got folks like Sylvia Jablonski telling us quantum's the next revolution. In the other, we've got Jensen Wong basically saying check back in 2 decades. The truth probably lies somewhere in between. Quantum computing is a mind-boggling technology with the potential to upend everything from cryptography to climate modeling. But mass adoption could be years away, if not decades. Meanwhile, the smaller companies might burn through their newfound cash trying to cross the finish line, only to find that the Microsofts and Googles of the world have already built the stadium. Historically, mania-like hype cycles come and go. Think cannabis, fuel cells, blockchain, meme stocks, I can go on. The easy money might indeed have already been made. But another spectacular breakthrough could still be right around the corner. Or not. I don't have a crystal ball. If I did, I'd be sitting in a hot tub right now with my soulmate.
You know, soaking it up in a hot tub with my soulmate.
For investors, it's all about the risk curve. If you bet on the big dogs, you might miss out on those 1,000% returns. But if you gamble on microcaps, you could be left holding worthless shares thanks to scammy venture guys diluting you down as the music stops. So is quantum the future or the next pets.com? Time will tell. But as a channel and a community, let's continue to monitor this sector and see if there's an opportunity for us to find some alpha. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. If you're long any of these names or you have some names you want us to look at, please let me know in the comments section. If you enjoyed this content, please smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. All right, everybody, thank you for watching.